guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a pretty entertaining article titled, Gone in 60 Seconds, I Was Ditched on a First Date. And guys, this article, this story, this is written by a woman. She's obviously young, probably, I'm going to guess 20s or so. And she's going to share her story about an experience she had on a first date, where she was looking at different dudes on the different dating apps and all that, and found this dude who she thought was perfect. You know, he was, I'm not kidding, above 6 feet tall. He was obviously very good looking. I mean, all the different sixes, I think, and other things. She goes out to meet the dude and takes one look at him and is like, nah, not interested. And it made abundantly clear there wasn't going to be a second date. It's just not going to happen. Okay? But you're going to see he beats her to it, where he goes off to the bathroom and he walks and disappears on her. And she has a meltdown, she's crying and all that, even though she had no interest in him whatsoever. It wasn't going to go past the first date, but he beat her to it, and now she's pissed off, and he's the bad guy and all that. And I'm doing this just as a funny little example to show you about gals and rejection, how they cannot handle rejection at all. Even though she had no interest in this guy at all. Zilch. She's still been out of shape and losing because this guy just walked and he beat her to it. Just a funny little thing about rejection and how I've mentioned before, guys, like if you're in a relationship and it's going south and you could feel there's going to be an imminent breakup, even though she could be ready to end it with you and she's done, if you beat her to it, oftentimes what could happen is literally be like, wait a second here. All of a sudden I'm attracted to him now because he broke up with me first. He has higher value than me. And those same gals will end up chasing after that guy. It's ridiculous, but just a little example here. So this is a quick one, but a funny one. She says here, should you ghost a date if you're not feeling it? There are 3 things that move fast in life: light, sound, and attraction. Behavioral psychologists estimate that it takes less than 1/10 of a second to form a first impression. That's faster than you can blink. The speed of attraction is so fast it has led to a cottage industry in speed dating. Dates under 5 minutes. The concept is simple. Why waste time with hours of witty banter when you know if there is chemistry in the first few seconds? Why not just cut and run if you are not feeling it? I recently went on a first date that started with hysterical crying in the bathroom and ended in, and she says, not so fast. We will get to the juicy bits. This past year, my parents became snowbirds and bought a house in Naples, Florida. I've been traveling back and forth between Boston and Naples to check in on them. But I had yet to do any night gallivanting in Naples, and after a week of feeling like grounded teen, I knew that there was an easy solution to being in a new city and not knowing anyone. Tinder. Again, Tinder. What are you going to get on Tinder? And it goes both ways. Within 5 minutes of opening the app, I had a date for the evening. Don't hate me, gentlemen. It's just easier for women because we are grossly outnumbered. Right here. Now you have one admitting it is easier for women than it is guys on Tinder or any other any dating app. I've done articles where women complain about how hard it is to find a guy on the dating apps, or how hard it is that it's easier for guys. Bullshit. If you are a top percentage dude in terms of the looks department and all good on paper, then it's not too difficult. But for most gals, there's so many dudes on there. If she's just average looking, she's going to get dudes. And 50 years old, she's going to get dudes. It just is what it is. But anyhow, she says, I had a few expectations other than to have an engaging conversation with someone younger than 80. My date was a 36-year-old model, and I didn't think I would have much in common with a 6 foot, genetically superior man who gets paid to look pretty. He's a model, therefore he's got money. 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, 6-pack, right? She didn't hesitate. But he had the kind of hair that made you wonder, how the heck did you sculpt that masterpiece? I needed to know. I showed up at the bar, and Fabio was waiting for me at the door with his back to me. Ah, yes, a gentleman. We were off to a good start. He turned around, and sure enough, he was stunningly beautiful. Tall, dark, handsome, hair doing something that defied gravity. Eyelashes like a baby giraffe. Pecs bulging out of his t-shirt. Okay, you get the picture. The guy was hot as fuck. Now listen to this. She says, I immediately was not attracted to him. Just like that. Remember the pickiness, guys? He's 6 feet tall. He obviously has 6-figure income because he's a model, so he's going to get paid, 6-pack. She said he's The pecs bulging out, so I'm going to assume he's got a tight stomach. Some pecs, some abs bulging out there. All that stuff, the hair, tall, dark, and handsome, blah, blah. And just taking one look at him without him saying a word, nah, I'm not attracted. It's like, you got to be kidding me. Even the top dudes, Now remember, she's not attracted to him, so it's not going to go anywhere after this. But watch what happens. I've never been attracted to perfect-looking people. Maybe it is the artist in me, but pretty boys leave nothing to the imagination. Newsflash, she saw what he looked like in the pictures in the dating app. And if this dude's a model, I'm sure he had more than just one picture there of what he looks like. So she had the idea. If I take a bite out of the apple, I need something meatier to cut my teeth on. And I hate to admit it, but some of my most vapid conversations have been with beautiful men, not always, but often. Well, I bet you there's a part of her deep down that thought, this guy's too good looking, women are going to be throwing themselves at him, therefore he'll cheat on me, so I need some guy that's not as good looking. So when you hear the whole thing about the women prefer guys with dad bods and that kind of bullshit, those studies that go on, it's not because they think they're hot and attractive. It's just those guys are easy to control. Those guys are less likely to cheat on them. She'll have the upper hand, being the better looking one compared to the guy with the beer belly and the man boobs and the hairy back and all that shit. Okay? That's why these gals go for those types, because they're easy prey. Not because they're like, I've never seen a girl at the pool or on the beach, do a complete 180 looking around to the dude walking by with saggy man boobs. Or you get the point. What a load of crap. It's about control. Said, instead of giving me a balding, brainy, short guy with a wicked sense of humor, and I'm ready to drop an ovary, my brain will always be my biggest sex organ. Still, I was determined to make the most of the evening. So even though she knows she's not the least bit attracted to this guy, it is not going anywhere whatsoever, no point wasting time. She's like, well, I'll make the most of the evening. Which, okay, one can say is reasonable, but this guy has a different idea. She says, Fabio introduced himself, and we went inside and got a seat at the bar. Before my arse could even hit the bar stool, he said, I need to run to the bathroom. Well, he never came back. My first thought was, Fabio just got abducted by a Mexican drug cartel in Naples, and is now trapped in a white van with his texting fingers handcuffed behind his back. I must save him. My second thought was less imaginative. I am an ugly troll who will die alone with her 9 cats, 11 vibrators, and 0 love. Do you hear the scraping sound? That's the sound of my club foot dragging behind my monstrous body in an empty bell tower. She's certainly, you can tell she's an artist. She's creative with her writing. She's funny, but her mind's going all over the place. She says, I ran to the bathroom and bawled my eyes out. After a few minutes of self-indulgent tears, I realized I had 2 choices. I could go home and stew in self-pity, or pull myself together and make the best of a crappy evening. Now let's review. You heard me say it. She wasn't interested in this guy at all. Now, remember what I told you about women hating being rejected? She wasn't into this guy at all. It wasn't going to go anywhere. So this guy, because obviously he's obviously a top guy, can get women, he took one look at her and was like, no. And walked away. So even though she was going to reject him ultimately, he rejected her first. So now he's the bad guy, and she's bawling her eyes out and putting on a whole drama fest. You see what I'm talking about rejection? And again, she wasn't interested in him anyway. She says here, of course, I chose to make lemon-infused martinis out of my lemons. As soon as I exited the bathroom, I bumped into another ridiculously good-looking guy with eyes so blue they looked like they had been plucked out of a vintage doll. The men are all good-looking here in Naples. He says, hey, are you okay? She says, I'm an ugly crier, so I'm pretty sure he thought I'd been punched in the face. She says, I'm good, I just got ditched by a date. I then regaled him with my tale of woe. He told me his name was Arthur and tried to mend my shattered ego. He said to her, you are beautiful, a total 10. That guy was a jerk, let me buy you a drink. Sounds like Arthur found an easy opportunity to get some if she was good looking enough. She says, no, I'm okay. I think I'm just going to head home. That's when Arthur looked me straight in the eye and gave me one of those ironic looks that people give you when they are acting peevish. I don't think you really want to go on a date with this guy, he said. You just wanted to get out of the house and have some fun tonight, so let's just make that happen. And so we did. And she says in parentheses, if my parents are reading this, I'm sorry, I came home at 3 a.m., but at least I now have friends in Naples. Translation, she went home with this dude. This guy knew exactly what he was doing. She was crying, all that, and he swooped in. Said, the following morning, I thought about whether Fabio had done me a favor by ditching me. Yes, it really hurt my pride. But I also wouldn't have had such a fun night if he had not. Arthur had something Fabio did not. Character. There's nothing sexier with a man than character. Unfortunately, an honorable character is hard to find these days. Surprisingly, when I told this story to a few of my girlfriends, every last one of them said, I got ditched on a date, horror story too. Online dating has become so transactional that we don't even have the decency to spend 1 hour sharing a drink with a stranger. You expect me to believe that none of these gals have ever ghosted a guy, or have ever gone out with a guy and was more than happy to let him spend a ton of money, hard-earned money, on a meal with her, acting interested, smiling, laughing at stupid-ass jokes, only to note in the back of her mind, there is no way I'm going to go out with this guy ever again. But I'll be more than happy to let him spend, part of his weekly pay on me trying to impress me. And yet, God forbid, on occasion, a guy does something like this, ghosts her, or they meet up, he takes one look at her, I gotta go to the bathroom, and leaves. He's a bad guy. Sure, of course, doing something like that is a little mean, I'll be honest here. But even still, or maybe, and we're seeing this from her perspective. What if how she represented herself on the dating app didn't match up to what she looked like in real life? How about that? Because I gotta be honest with you guys, in my opinion, if you go out on a date and you get there and the gal doesn't look anything like she did in the picture, the picture obviously is like at least 5 years old, or it's angled in a way that makes her face look thin or thinner, but then you take one look at her and it's like, what the damn hell is that sitting in front of me? Looks like Grimace from McDonald's, or who the hell knows what. Then that guy has a reason to pretty much end the date. Just say, you misrepresented yourself, that's not cool, have a good night, walk away. And honestly, if a gal went on a date with a guy and he portrayed himself a certain way and she got to the freaking bar and the picture was from 10 years ago and he weighs 350 pounds, she'd have a reason too as well. But probably in a case like that, she might actually have him just spend the money on her. Who knows? But so one has to look at this both sides. Okay, but we're only getting her side of this story. He could have saw her and been like, whoa, you're not who I thought. I'm not going to pay for this meal. Or maybe she was hoping to get the free. Maybe she was also like, why? Pretty much, how dishonorable it is for a guy to walk away and do that. Well, maybe she was hoping to get. Okay, I'm not into him, but I'll still get a meal out of this. So you don't know. So it drives me crazy when you have the gals complain and whine and cry about guys doing these things when they do the same thing. But when they do it, it's acceptable and okay. But if a guy does it, when we're the root of all evil. You see what I'm getting at, guys? She says, when did dating become horse trading? Warning, switching to my pedantic old lady voice. I really wish you would stop throwing people away like paper cups. I've gone on plenty of first dates in which I knew within seconds that there was never going to be a second date. I still had a fabulous time, and some of those dates had become close friends. Well, when you said that you went on the date and you knew in a second that you weren't interested, it sounds like she has a history of this. Sounds to me like somebody's pretty picky. Imagine that in today's world. They see themselves as entitled to 10s. And she sounds like a 10, and still he wasn't good enough. And when she said I had a fabulous time, well, when you had a fabulous time on these dates with these guys you weren't interested in, who paid the bill? That's my question. And Arthur was right. I didn't want to go on a date with anyone. I just wanted to share some witty repartee and delicious martini with a kind, intelligent person for a few hours. Well, who's paying for those martinis and that food? So here's the deal. We all know that online dating has become the root canal painful. Most of us just want each date to end as soon as it starts. But maybe a romance might slow down and become more enjoyable if we stop running up through our checklist. Slow down enough, at least see someone. Well, checklist, you got a guy with all the 6s and he still wasn't good enough for us. So I have to question the checklist. And again, yeah, everybody I talk to and I know and talk about dating nowadays, and it most certainly is true that it's a mess. It's shit. Well, it goes both ways. And generally guys, it's made out to be the all guy. Like, you ever notice guys in songs and the radio music, and the gals are singing about these awful guys that do them wrong and all that, the bad boys. They make it out like to be like all guys are like that, which is completely untrue. Most guys are not like that. But we know a very large percentage of the gals are like that to the guys that aren't like that. So making out to be that we're all the bad guys is ridiculous. She says, so wherever Fabio is in the world, thank you. You were the best first date I've had in a long time. Yeah, because she hooked up with Arthur, and Arthur knew exactly what he was doing, and I don't think Arthur probably called her again. Who the hell knows? But anyhow, guys, it's a quick one. That'll be an entertaining one. Again, back to the whole women and rejection thing. They can't take it. And again, she knew instantly she wasn't into this dude. Okay? And I don't know if you guys ever saw the show How I Met Your Mother. It was very popular years ago. It was pretty funny. And the character Barney Stinson, Neil Patrick Harris, he was the player. And he always had these different laws and rules to pick up, and everything was hilarious. And one of them was called the lemon law, where pretty much you get there on the date, and the lemon law is essentially you can take one look at her, and you got a certain time period to end the date before you continue on. I forget how long the lemon law was. Maybe it was a minute. Take one look at her, nah, and you can walk, no hard feelings. That guy was doing the lemon law, but she didn't like that. And I guarantee you that if she rejected him, it would have been okay. But anyhow, that'd be a funny one to go over here, guys. And again, we got her side of the story. We didn't get his side of the story. It's possible that he saw her and didn't think she looked at all the way she represented herself on the social media and dating apps. So, keep that in mind. But for your dating relationship, guys, here's yet another story and example, and probably a reason why a lot of you guys don't date. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me just think about this. And also, guys, if you come across a really good story, article, whatever, personal story, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. I get these all the time, so just bear with me, and I will get to it down the road if it really works. I mean, sometimes it takes me a couple months to get to certain emails and articles and all that, but I will get to them if they definitely work. So be sure to send it over to me. And also, guys, if you are on Instagram or on Locals, be sure to check me out, Strong Successful Male. Making a big push in it this year. It's been going really well, so I appreciate the guys that have joined me. And also, guys, be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.